The panel is here. NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli, Peggy Noonan, columnist for the Wall Street Journal, and Kimberly Atkins Stohr, senior opinion writer for the Boston Globe. Thank you all for being here on this first show of the new year. Mike, let me start with you. You've got some new reporting. Obviously, you saw this robust back and forth with Congresswoman Stefanik, with Quentin Folks. Everyone is getting into fight mode heading into 2024, and President Biden's going to be ramping up.
Yeah, that's right, Kristen. I mean, I've covered this president, his team, a long time.
Yeah.
They feel very much that they are confident in their theory of the case. They pride themselves really on taking the long view of seeing the signal through the noise. But I think it's one thing to discount the criticism, the advice from a Democratic donor, a strategist, a lawmaker. You can't when it's coming from the former president of the United States, Barack Obama. And I think you're seeing now this acceleration, the campaign calls it a sharpening of that strategy to respond to what we're seeing from those donors, that concern. And so you kick that off on Friday with that speech I covered at Near Valley Forge. And I'm told by Biden campaign advisors, this is a new ramped up tempo that you're going to see for the next few weeks leading up to what they see as a really critical opportunity for the president to make the case for a second term, but also to speak to that concern about whether he is up for this fight. The State of the Union address in 2 months will be the biggest audience he has throughout the year to show that he is up for this, and they plan to deliver on that. Yeah,
the State of the Union address, no doubt, is going to be one of the most important speeches, if not the most important speech of his political life. Kimberly, I mean, do there need to be structural changes if former President Obama is calling for those inside his campaign?
Look, the Biden campaign has to do whatever it can to do two big things. It's to re-energize the people who were energized in 2020. I have talked to young people in my life who were very motivated. They were mobilized in 2020. They were voting like their futures depended on it, and they themselves admit they are less engaged this year. They need to turn that around, and they also need to rebut the narrative that Donald Trump is creating with the help of people like Elise Stefanik, saying that it is Biden that is undemocratic because of these challenges. They need to be able to do both things, both as an administration, do that work, but also as a campaign, really point out why Donald Trump's rhetoric is so dangerous.
Peggy, set the stage, if you would, for this extraordinary moment that we are in. What we heard this morning, for example, from Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, which undoubtedly will be what we hear from Trump and his surrogates out on the campaign trail as if he wins the nomination, tries to take on President Biden.
Yeah, I think we're all so fascinated by Elise Stefanik this morning. First of all, man, she comes in hot. She comes in like a hot jet that possibly might be overshooting the airfield. When she called the January 6th, those who've been arrested and or convicted hostages, oh my gosh, that's going full bore. That's doubling down. Not saying that, of course, we mean to accept and intend to accept the outcome of the 2024 election, but saying sort of, well, it's very much in doubt, we'll see, sort of doing that jarring thing. That was startling, and I think that is part of the mood, as you say, that we'll be seeing in 2024 on the trail. I will say for Elise Stefanik, her superpower is that she immediately goes to policy. She pounds, not so much her superpower as a Republican thing. Policy, policy, policy. The lovely Democratic guest you had this morning was more politics and process. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
They're two different moods and they're two different importances. And the first probably has a bit of an advantage.
It's such a fascinating point, particularly as we head into Iowa. Kimberly, 8 days away. What are you watching for?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm watching for that policy, and I'm not sure policy is what is landing for her audience. She was talking about the weaponization of the federal government, which, of course, is something Trump has promised to do, yet they accuse Biden of doing. She was talking about how the most viewed testimony ever was her questioning of Dr. Gay, sort of hearkening on the, oh, I got the biggest crowds. She is trumping her way to this, hopefully it seems, a VP position, running mate position. And she is going in with the full MAGA red meat. And I think that is exactly what she thinks it's going to take to help gin up the audience.
Fair enough. What you say is true, but she pounds on illegal immigration, which is huge in America, is an issue. she pounds on this new thing, which is not attacks on institutions, but on specific institutions that Republicans and conservatives believe have been out there for at least 20 years. That's going to be big. So I think she does hit on policy.
There's no doubt about that. Go ahead, Mike.
When you talk about what you're seeing in Iowa, listening to Quentin folks, it's clear they view the Trump base as loyal, as unmovable. I think that's the only thing the Trump and Biden teams probably agree on at this point. And that's why you're going to see Trump this week, not in Iowa, but in a D.C. federal courthouse, one of the many court proceedings that he's dealing with. And that speaks to, I think, the challenge for the rest of the Republican field, right? They, as we saw in these conversations Dasha Burns was having with the candidates, they're struggling not necessarily to make a case for themselves, but to make the case against Donald Trump. And that's why I think 8 days until Iowa, 8 days after that is New Hampshire. We might have the earliest start of the general election, and why the VP audition started today.
Yeah, it certainly did. Like, very quickly, are we going to hear Biden talk more about Trump's legal problems?
Well, they view Trump as a legal drama, and they think Biden's job is to prosecute the case as a candidate, not to deal with the legal drama.
Peggy, it seems like watching a fight for second place. What are you going to be watching for Iowa in terms of that second place finish? Does third, fourth have to drop out? Does this field have to narrow?
We'll see. I mean, I'm wondering who's going to drop out first, but someone's going to have to become the Trump slayer. And there'll be Trump and the Trump slayer, and somebody's going to have to drop out, or like 2016, nothing will work in opposing Trump. Funny thing about Iowa, let me say quickly, it doesn't seem big. Big policy speeches, big declarations, big policy fights. It's, in a funny way, it seems smaller. And what do we do about Donald? Keeps it small.
That's the question, the lingering question. Thank you all.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.